Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living in beautiful Palm Springs, California. I'm Reverend Rebecca, and I am so glad that you could join us this morning for our pre-service meditation. This is where we set the energy for our Sunday morning celebration. And I just want to remind you, next Sunday is Easter. And even more good news, this is the first time we will be meeting together. We are having a Sunday morning celebration in our parking lot for Easter next Sunday. So I invite you to go to our website and sign up so that you can be there in person. And that starts at 9 o'clock. Because of that service, we will not be having a Sunday morning meditation next Sunday. We'll be doing our 9 o'clock parking lot service and then our regular 10:30 live stream service. So remember, no meditation next week, but feel free to sign up and join us in the parking lot for a Sunday morning Easter celebration. Well, this morning, I want to talk to you about wisdom and higher information. You know, the wisdom and higher information we tap into in deep listening doesn't always come in the form we think it might, or even the form we're used to. This is where our intellect is eager to communicate with us in complete sentences. The language of the soul is often more subtle. You may experience a form of single words or phrases, seeds or kernels of ideas, symbolic images, lofty feelings, colors, or simply a sense of peace and tranquility. So let's go into meditation this morning and be prepared for all of that. So as you make yourself comfortable, I invite you to gently close your eyes, open your inner eye, and lift your eyes to that place of high consciousness. Just take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, just let go of any tension. Feel yourself sinking into the surface you're resting on, becoming more relaxed, more comfortable. Take another slow, deep breath. And just release your thoughts, letting them drift far away. Take another slow, deep breath. And know right here, right now, in this moment, all is well. I invite you to bring your awareness into your heart center, in the center of your chest, and notice a softness there. Just imagine all the energy you've sent out into the world lately, coming gently back into your heart, like the last pieces of a puzzle, making you feel whole and complete. Just follow your breathing in and out as you relax and settle. Breathing is your connection to life and the natural world. And like all of nature, it has a rhythm. Take a few moments and do nothing more than simply follow the rhythm of your breath and relax. And now we're going to go on a journey together. Imagine you've been invited for a spring vacation at a summer's country cottage. You're going to look after things while they're away. You relish spending time alone in this quaint setting where you can read and write and meditate and just be for a while. Just be on your own in a private retreat from the outside world. And so you find yourself at the edge of the yard, stepping through the wooden gate and making your way up the winding stone path to the cottage. There's a front porch with a comfy wooden rocking chair. And it's a beautiful day. Too nice to spend inside. So you settle into that rocking chair and just take in the view. You have a front row seat for the colorful flowers. It just feels wonderful to just sit here rocking, watching the flowers, the sky, the trees in the distance, breathing in the softly scented air on this lovely spring day. Take a few moments to just absorb this peaceful setting. Enjoy the garden, following your breath. Continue to let your breathing carry you inward as you consider this question. What does life want me to know? I remind you, your answers may come in single words, short phrases, symbols, colors, lofty feelings. What does life want me to know? What does life want me to know? What does life want me to know? What does my higher self want me to know? What does my higher self want me to know? What does my higher self want me to know? And so as our journey comes to a close, I ask you to take a moment and thank yourself for giving yourself this gift. This beautiful morning, this time in this rocking chair, knowing that the answers have all been given to your questions. I ask you to stand and walk down the winding path to the beautiful gate. And as you step through the gate, I ask you to come back into this time and space, into this room, knowing that you have been blessed beyond measure, knowing that healing has happened here, knowing that the answers for the next steps, for the path forward, have all been given and will reveal to you in the perfect right time. I am so grateful that you could join me this morning at the Center for Spiritual Living in beautiful Palm Springs, California. I'm Reverend Rebecca. And I remind you once again, next Sunday is Easter Sunday, and so we will not be having meditation. This is your opportunity, if you live in our area, to come back together for a Sunday morning celebration in our parking lot. Simply go to our website, cslps.org, and sign up for your spot. Bring your lawn chair. We're looking forward to being together in our parking lot. And as always, at 10:30, we will have our regular Sunday morning celebration. I know that you'll be able to join us for one of those opportunities. And so, no meditation next Sunday. Happy Easter. I can't wait to see everybody in person. So I say much love and many blessings. Thank you so much for joining us this morning for our pre-service meditation.
Beneath the sodden lantern sky, I sit zazen with open eyes. Can't rise above the din, won't land inside my skin. Still something core within arrives. The vines are winding, serpentine. The insects crowd the window screen. Rain falls like mirrored pearls. The rainbow puddles swirl, a world unfurls from black to green. Spring comes on leaves of fall and graves of winter white. The hungry newborn light that feeds upon the ashes of the night. Weft and weaving, of the dance where all is paid for in advance. Below the swollen river flows to sea, then cloud, then back it goes. A deep desire I can't explain comes softly tapping like the rain. A fragile memory, a form I can't quite see, a whispering at the window pane. What dies, who rises from this dream? What suffers, how, who is redeemed? Who's lost among the trees? Who's hiding in the leaves? What child so silent and serene? A pilgrim soul like fallow earth awaits the seed. This lack is holy, holy is the gift, holy the need. Oh, river, flow in hope, trust and surrender, reconcile what's broken within me. Love, peace, and presence lost, I pray. Rises again this Easter. of you might know this one. If you know it, sing it. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are in love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Hey, 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 everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Hey, 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 everybody, get up on your feet. See the light, everybody you meet. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light, everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Hey, hey, hey. Love you.
Good morning. I'm George Melton, and I'm your host for this morning's live streaming service coming to you from our sanctuary in beautiful Palm Springs, California on this warm and sunny Palm Sunday. You've been listening to Gary Lynn Floyd singing One Big Family. If you'll notice, the service looks a little bit different today. We'll be live streaming several elements of our service from the sanctuary today and incorporating that into some of the pre-recorded musical selections that we've used in the past. This is our new model of doing church, and it's just another step in the direction of in-person services. So we hope you enjoy what you're seeing today. On behalf of Reverend Eunice Chalfant and our Leadership Council, I'd like to welcome all of you who are tuned in from Palm Springs this morning and all of our friends from around the country. Just to name a few, Lori and Jeff in Miami. Hi, guys. Linda Ginn in Los Angeles. Stella Evans, Tony Suter, Patricia and Jazz Minkle here in Palm Springs. So no matter where you are on your spiritual path or where you might be tuned in from this morning, you are welcome here. We'd like to begin our service by reciting our mission and vision statement. Please follow along with me at home if you would. At CSL PS, we envision a world where oneness is cultivated, unity is lived, and reverence for all life is practiced, empowering us to thrive individually and collectively. And of course, we do this through the teachings of science of mind and spirit and the practice of unconditional love. We have a number of things for you to be aware of this week. First of all, Reverend Eunice would invite you to join her this afternoon at 1 o'clock at Ruth Hardy Park to walk the labyrinth in the wellness park there. It's a great way to get out in the sunshine, get some fresh air, and reconnect with some of your friends here from the center. We'll be meeting at the parking lot at Caballeros and Tashiva here in Palm Springs by the park. And if you would like to join, text Reverend Eunice at the number that you see on your screen above me and let her know that you're coming. Foundations for Living with Master Practitioner Igea Grace Frazier begins on Thursday, April 1st at 6:30 p.m. on Zoom. This is a 5-week class that focuses on the basics of science of mind principles and practices and is the starting place for those of you who want to create the life of your dreams. It is also a perfect spiritual tune-up for anyone who has previously taken the course. All of our CSL PS classes are on a love offering basis and a materials fee. You can register by logging on to cslps.org and complete the registration form under events and classes. This Wednesday evening at 6:30 p.m., join Reverend Mark Accomando for Wisdom Shares and Sacred Practices as he facilitates Be Here Now, the precious nature of living and dying, with excerpts from the sacred teachings of Ram Dass. The evening will include a beautiful 10-minute guided meditation that touches on the sacred experience of transition. Whether this topic brings up feelings of resistance or if you've already made peace with the process of living and dying, come and enjoy this sacred evening and share your insights and understandings around this powerful and important topic. That's this Wednesday evening at 6:30 p.m. on Zoom. Then next Sunday morning, we will be wrapping up our 40-day Leaping into Freedom in the New Fabulous with a Sunday celebration service on Easter in the parking lot. Just bring your mask, your Easter bonnet, and a lawn chair, and you'll be all set. CSL's Executive Director, Sonia Burns, will be with us for the service, so let's show her a warm Palm Springs welcome. Please make your reservation as we are preparing an Easter gift for you, and we need an accurate count in order to know how many gifts to prepare. You can reserve your spot by going to our website, cslps.org, clicking on Events and Classes, and scrolling down to the Sunday Easter service, and that will lead you to the link where you can make your reservation. Because we will be doing the 9 a.m. service in the parking lot, and then we'll be doing a live streaming service here from the sanctuary at 10:30, there will be no meditation service next week, just so that you know. And finally, on Wednesday, April 7th at 3:30 p.m., you can join Reverend Eunice for our monthly visioning session. As you already know, visioning is one of the 3 spiritual practices that we teach here at the center, and very important to what we do here. As our visioning happens the first Wednesday of every month, so keep that in mind. Come and be a part of helping discover the next step for CSLPS and for your own life. So in just a few minutes, our practitioner, Mitch Alcorn, will be leading us in prayer and doing the morning's reading. Reverend Vince Kiefner is holding high watch from home, and Reverend Rebecca Van Kotterman will be your host in the upper room for prayer with a one-on-one prayer with a practitioner immediately after this service. But first, something from Adriana Rubio.
Hello, everyone. My name is Adriana Rubio, and I am one of the members here at Center for Spiritual Living in Palm Springs. I'm so excited to have been asked to let you guys know on my story on how I came to be a part of this amazing community. So first off, I want to let you know that I am a leader for the Celebration of Life, which is an incredible task that I've been assigned to do, which is basically I cater and coordinate all of the memorials that are to come to the center, and I make sure that they have the most peaceful and memorable and loving experience when they're here, and that they feel at home and that they can celebrate the life of their loved ones in love and unity. So that's one of the amazing things that I do here. Another thing that I do is that I'm a co-leader for the hospitality team. And this was like one thing that I signed up with. As soon as I came into this place, I saw that they had a kitchen and they had a cafe, and that you didn't just come here and just, said your prayer and left, but you could come and mingle and meet other people that are like-minded, and everyone was just so happy and so friendly, and they would bring their dishes to share, and just like, there was just always so much love that I just jumped in and just decided to help out. And I was like, where do I sign up? I want to help out. I want to experience this more. And I pretty much noticed that I wasn't leaving right away. I was just staying. I liked it. I just liked the community, the union, everything that this place represents. And then I found out that they offer classes. So valuable, man. So valuable, these classes. The first one that I took was fundamentals of spiritual science of mind with Reverend Robert. I was a single mom that was struggling and was living just to live and surviving. And after meeting this beautiful community and taking the classes that I took the 28-day lift, faith lift, 28-day faith lift. I took that class, and boy, Reverend Eunice, man, wow, she completely just blew me off the park with all of the information that she gave me on consciousness and how to bring myself back and center myself back. And that, I was going through a very difficult time in court, and I didn't think I was gonna make it through. It didn't look like I was gonna do good in what I was going for, and I knew that I was a person of good, but all odds were not in my favor. But I was taking this 28-day lift, faith lift class, 28 faith lift class, and I just trusted. And I went to court and I said my case and I said my piece, and I stood up like a brave woman because I struggled so much, but this community helped me through in prayer. And I am just so grateful for everyone. So grateful, because I don't think that with pandemic, losing my job and going through everything that I went through, I would have made it sane and back to here the way I look now. Please make sure, you guys, please make sure that you support us in any way that you can, with your treasures, with your time, with your talent, in any way that you can support us in supporting you, because the things that the people here do, the Reverend Eunice, the practitioners, the time that they take out of their day is so incredible, and it would not be possible without your help, your continuous help and support. So I thank you and I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. Yay!
Thank you, Adriana. So as we move into the heart of today's service, just take a moment wherever you might find yourself this morning to uncross your legs if that's possible, uncross your arms, allowing the free flow of energy through your crown chakra, down through your body unimpeded, out through your feet, and grounding yourself into the earth. As together we take a deep, connected breath, breathing in the love that is always present, no matter the circumstances, no matter where we are, no matter the conditions. And we let that love marinate every cell of our body before we breathe it out and send it around the world where it might be needed just a little bit this morning. And so as we find our own comfortable rhythm of breath, we breathe into our heart space, and let the music take us just a little deeper.
Open wide my heart. 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 Open Open wide my heart. Open wide my heart. Open wide my
practitioners here at Centers for Spiritual Living Palm Springs. Welcome to our sanctuary. I am so excited to be here this morning, standing behind the thing, the podium. There we go, thank you. Standing behind the podium, enjoying the oneness that we share, sending it out from a sanctuary to each of you. So our reading today is taken from the book, It's All God by Walter Starkey. Easter symbolizes that moment in our lives when it is revealed to us that we are spirit or consciousness with bodies, rather than bodies with consciousness. Easter represents the breakthrough moment that proves that consciousness is cause, the maintainer and sustainer of our lives. Crucifixions happen, but they happen as part of the divine process. If you want to build a house, you have to crucify the trees before they are resurrected into a loving home. If you want to paint a masterpiece, you have to destroy the tube of paint. Death and resurrection does not happen once in a lifetime. Every time there is a divorce, every time a partner dies, every time one loses a job, or every time there is any shift in consciousness, the old identity dies and the new one is born. Trust the process. Trust Easter. Surrender yourself to your higher self. Remember, there is no God apart from your own higher consciousness, and it will transform any darkness into light. Take these few moments to just center and ground and contemplate these words. Only God, only good, unfolding in this moment, unfolding in this newness into the new fabulous, unfolding as each of us, opening to that divine expression that we are in the world. So as we open, as we listen to our higher consciousness, that voice of God within, we just say yes. And we open to listen. Listen to the words of Reverend Eunice today. Listen to what we need to hear, for it is always there. For there is good, there is God, and there is our oneness, our connection to each other, even in the separation. So I know the truth that God is, I am, we are one. And together we celebrate. We celebrate this truth. So join me as we say, and so it is.
I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith, and I am stronger every moment, every day. My mind is willing and my heart is open wide. I trust my instincts and let spirit be my guide. I vow to live a life that's real and pure and free, as I continue walking in this mystery. I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith, and I am grateful every moment, every day. There may be walls, there may be roadblocks in my way, but I can choose to take a higher path each day. And now I know that what I thought was safe and sound was only habit and regret that held me down. I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step take is taken in pure faith, and I am kinder every moment, every day, and I'm more loving every moment, every day. I will surrender every moment, every day.
Good morning, beloveds. Oh, you are powerful, creative, and so loved for who you are and exactly how you're showing up in this world. And we come together every Sunday to celebrate this truth and to remind ourselves and each other of this truth. And it is in that consciousness that I welcome you this morning. As you can see, we are streaming live. If you can see our banner that was beautifully painted as all the walls in our sanctuary and our chapel, freshly painted this year by one of our members, Patrick Sheehan, as a sacred act of service. He works so hard and it's beautiful. And also, if you can see how it's been so beautifully staged by Jeff Kingfisher. Oh my goodness, Jeff is such a talented person. Besides creating the beautiful music and music videos and doing all of his magical weaving of the service, he staged this and brought in some little touches like the beautiful flowers and the palm tree in celebration of Palm Sunday. So I just want to thank these wonderful dear hearts of giving so freely of their time and their talent and their service. Oh, I appreciate it. And it's so good, like Mitch said, it's good to be back as a first step for when we all return. I can't wait for you to see it. So, for the past 40 days, we have been on a transformational journey of awakening to who and what we truly are. God expressing uniquely and individually as each and every one of us. So our month, actually it's the 40-day theme has been leap into freedom in the new fabulous. Leap into freedom in the new fabulous. And this final week and this final walk is a very intense, intentional, creative walk through the final stage of transformation. You know, this week is a very sacred period of time. It is a vortex of sacred creative energy. And in two different traditions, it is referred to as either the high holy days of Judaism or the Holy Week in Christianity. And in the Jewish tradition, yesterday marked the beginning of Passover. And Passover commemorates the beginning of the Hebrews' liberation from slavery in Egypt. And the Passover story begins many, many, many years before that first celebration, when the Hebrews were enslaved in Egypt, and the Pharaoh of Egypt was really worried about the growing number of Hebrews and needed to do something in order to protect his own position of power, kind of like what we've been experiencing lately, not to be political, but that same response when you all of a sudden wake up and you say, oh my goodness, the demographics are changing. And so his response was to decree that every son born into the Hebrew household should be drowned in the Nile River. And generations later, or years later, or decades later, I should say, Moses grew up And in his communion with God, God told Moses to go to the Pharaoh and say, set my people free, to request that he release all the Hebrews out of slavery. And the Pharaoh simply said, no, no. And so that began that process. And the story goes, and really remember, all these traditional stories are really metaphors of transformation. But what happened is in the Jewish story that God sent 10 different plagues to really try to force the Pharaoh into releasing the Hebrews. And the last plague to hit Egypt actually killed the Pharaoh's son. And as the story goes, during the last 10th and final plague, God passes through the land of Egypt. I'm quoting from a little excerpt from one of the websites I went to, and it says, God passed through the land of Egypt and strikes down the firstborn of every household. But the Jews were told by God in this vision of Moses to place the blood of the lamb on their door, and then the plague and all the problems would pass over that household, and that is the origin of the Passover celebration. And so every year since then, the Jewish tradition was to celebrate the Passover. So the Passover story is symbolic of the journey into freedom, and will contain so many rich and juicy principles of truth that we can then discern and embody and use to really support our own journey into greater freedom. And in this case, it's freedom from lack and limitation and false identification with our physicality. This has many symbolism. This Jewish tradition of Passover has so much to offer, as does in the Christian tradition this Holy Week that begins with today, Palm Sunday, when Jesus triumphantly entered back into Jerusalem to celebrate the Passover. And what happened is all his followers laid beautiful palm leaves upon the ground, and he rode in triumphantly on the back of a donkey. And now the symbolism of that is in our humility, because, most of the Roman soldiers would ride in on horses and so forth, but Jesus chose to ride in triumphantly on a donkey, and that symbolizes that when we go into the humble, meek state of consciousness, when we're open and receptive, then we can be used for greater transformation. And so the palm leaves are really about showing respect. The people loved Jesus. They showed respect. They adored him. So as he entered in that way on over palm leaves, that began the tradition of Palm Sunday. So in other words, Jesus, well, let me just go back and just say, in our tradition in Science of Mind, we believe that Jesus is the example, the master teacher, the way shower, because what he taught can transform our lives, because Jesus always says, what I do, even greater things shall you do. And really, ultimately, what his transformational journey showed was that consciousness is cause. And it is quoted in the Bible that he said, let the mind be in you, which was also in Christ Jesus. So Christ is not Jesus's last name. Christ is a state of consciousness, an elevated consciousness, where we absolutely know that we are one with God, in God, and that we are unique individualizations of God. These things that I do, even greater things shall you do. And so we are to discern the spiritual principles and practices that Jesus so beautifully taught, especially during that time, that week, A lot of the parables he taught transpired in his teachings after he rode into Jerusalem. And so these principles are eternal. They're universal. They can be applied for in our lives so that we can always be in that transformational process. So both the Passover and the crucifixion resurrection story serve as symbols and metaphors describing those steps of transformation that we take when we enter into a new consciousness. We are consciously and intentionally being transformed into the new fabulous, both individually and collectively. You know, as we do our internal work, our inner work, we show up differently and we co-create with each other and bring forth a new world, a world in which everyone can survive and flourish and enjoy life. And that is what we are always about. And this transformational journey is eternal. It is always taking place. There is no beginning and no ending in God because God is infinite. And we are always living and moving and having our beingness in that infinite field of possibility, that we're always downloading greater and greater ways of being, greater insights, greater realization. And so there's no end to infinity. We're always revealing more and more and more of our true identity, more and more of ourself. So we may consciously and intentionally participate in our own evolution of consciousness, resulting in greater freedom. And that's what both of these stories are about, that by us awakening, we get to do our inner work that sets ourselves free. So today's talk is Leap into Freedom through being it. You know, Gandhi said, be the change you wish to see. So our final stage of leaping is leaping into that state where we just show up and be it. But before we can be it, we have to be willing to move through that ultimate surrender. We're ultimately called to surrender anything unlike our spiritual truth, our spiritual identity. We're surrendering limiting ideas. We're surrendering habitual patterns of belief and behavior that result in us believing that what you see here is who I am, my physicality is who I am, or my role is who I am. And we're called to surrender it all, to crucify it all, to allow that new butterfly to emerge more fully and completely as our new being. So in the ultimate surrender, the old limited concept of self and separation from God, separation from our good, must be crucified, must be crossed out, must be released, dissolved, disappeared from our consciousness so that new life can emerge, new consciousness can stream forth as our being. As in our opening reading stated, that was so beautifully read by Mitch, that the trees must be crucified in order for that lovely new home to emerge, that a tube of paint must be crucified in order for that masterpiece to be painted, that we're always in the state of releasing, of surrendering, of letting go what we think we know right now and opening up to a greater truth, a greater good, a greater beingness. So in the Christian tradition, the physical body must be crucified so that the higher self can be birthed. The higher self is our true self, our consciousness that is eternal, can never be touched or hurt or harmed or limited by anything in our physical experience. Who we truly are is so much greater than what we have experienced up to this moment in time. Jim Lockhart is one of my colleagues, and he teaches a lot in the various schools of ministry and advanced ministerial classes, and he's just an amazing man. He's written a couple books. He says this: metaphysically, crucifixion stands for a process that we all go through consciously and continuously. The death of some part of our old self and our being reborn or evolved to something new, evolving into something new. We prepare by repenting or releasing our limitations, doing our inner work and to transform our consciousness, to create a receptivity to the new. Then we move through the crucifixion, whatever the personal challenge and discomforts are, and allow the inner change to gestate, finally rising as the new consciousness. In this way, we are transformed. The risen Christ consciousness within is awakened and expresses as a new version of self, awakened and ready to contribute in a larger way to the well-being of ourselves and our planet. Powerful words. This is what we do ongoing, and in particular during this Holy Week, where we get to really have a condensed version of that transformational process. The concept of crucifixion really did not begin with the story of Jesus's crucifixion on the cross. It really predates that. And when I was looking it up, I discovered that crucifixion and resurrection was described in the Egyptian Book of the Dead, which was written in 1550 BCE. Now, if you're like me, I'm going, what the heck is BCE and what does that mean? BCE is a different way of saying before Christ. And really what it means is that the Egyptian Book of the Dead was written 1,550 years before the birth of Jesus. And it details the exact same principles that Jesus' crucifixion detailed, where we die to the old and we are born into a greater consciousness, a greater state of being, a greater state of awareness. So this whole concept of crucifixion is universal, it is eternal, and it is always taking place. Through crucifixion, we ultimately surrender. We ultimately surrender. And surrendering literally means letting go, giving up a power over us. We're surrendering it. We're yielding to something greater. In other words, we surrender the limited small self and open up to the greater self. Surrendering the small self and the struggle and the efforting and the making things happen and the working, trying to bring forth our greater good, all of that is surrendered. All of that is let go. You know, if you're like me, sometimes I'll do something and I'll absolutely hit the wall. I just hit the wall. And instead of saying, okay, this is an opportunity to surrender and just open up, I will resist it. I will fight it. I will struggle. I will effort it. And it is really, really painful. And eventually I tire out. And I'll just go, uncle, and I let go. And all of a sudden everything's lifted and everything is transformed. And the way is made possible. The Red Sea parts, and I can walk through easily and effortlessly. That seems to be my own struggle, and I think that's kind of the struggle of all of us go through. We forget that we can surrender to a divine guidance within, a greater good, a greater truth of our being. I often think of the metaphor of a drowning man or a drowning woman, and they're flailing and they're struggling to try to stay above, their head above the water, and they're efforting and they're tiring. And eventually when they let go and just give up, the water lifts them to the surface. And then the water supports them and they can float perfectly. If they would surrender early on, they would be lifted. So that is the lesson for us. This, when we surrender, when we let go of the struggle, we can be lifted. We don't have to fight and stand up for ourselves and effort. We could go, whoa, who I am is not limited by anything in my earthly experience. It's not limited by my physical body. Who I am is so much greater than this. And that ultimate surrender allows us to move into that greater truth. I know I was talking to Reverend Mark Acamando, one of our staff ministers this week, and I can't remember if it was at the ministers' lunch meeting. It was our first time coming together in person. We're all been vaccinated, so it was really wonderful to be together in the flesh and have lunch and then support each other. Or he was doing some of the daily meditations at 9:15. In one of them, he was talking about what an acronym to remind us to surrender and not to struggle and fight. And he said, use the word JADE as a reminder. It's an acronym for we do not have to justify. We do not have to get angry. We do not have to defend. Boy, that's a big one for me. We don't have to defend ourselves, and we don't have to live up to other people's expectation. So in other words, remember JADE, Jade, justify, anger, defend, or live up to an expectation of others. Because who we are is so much greater than this. And it's just in that moment of remembrance that we can surrender to a greater truth. So exactly what are we surrendering? There are 4 things we're surrendering. We're precisely surrendering the belief in 2 powers, that there's God and something else that is controlling us. No. God is revealing, being made visible through our thoughts, through our feelings, through our activities. And there's nothing that can oppose God because God is infinite goodness. So we're surrendering the belief that there is a power outside of us, that there is a power that can control us. We're surrendering that. We're surrendering resistance. In our teaching, we always say, what you resist persists. Have you heard that? Yeah? So when we're struggling and when we're fighting, we give it power. We're giving the belief in 2 powers more energy, more agreement. And of course, it just grows and expands as a result. So we're surrendering that resistance. We're surrendering the belief that an external situation or circumstance control our lives. How many of us has believed that the pandemic is limiting ourselves? The pandemic is keeping us from living fully. The pandemic is, you fill in the blank. No, we are always free to make any situation or circumstance a learning opportunity, a creative opportunity, an opportunity to deepen our awareness. There were so many gifts from this pandemic, and we're just now discovering all those gifts. One of which, for me personally, is the gift of Jeff Kingfisher. Because of the pandemic, look what he has achieved and blossomed and contributed to our spiritual community. I don't know if we would have seen all those wonderful gifts had we not had this past year. So we're surrendering that mistaken belief that an external situation or circumstance, even disease, can control us. Our higher self is so much greater than any physicality. So ultimately, what we are surrendering is a sense of separation, a seeming sense, a mistaken sense of separation from our God, from our good, from who and what we truly are. Ernest Holmes says, the Christ is a universal idea of principle. Each one puts on the Christ to the degree that he surrenders the limited sense of life to the divine realization of wholeness and unity with God in God. As the human gives way to the divine in all people, they become the Christ. And I'll end with this quote from Eugene Holden, who wrote this month's daily guides in the Science of Mind magazine. I loved it. It really fit with what we are talking about today. Eugene says, And Eugene Holden is a practitioner. Wonderful. He was heading up the ministry of prayer for years and years and years. Eugene says, now is the time for all of us to let go of everything that does not allow the Spirit full expression. We were created to speak the word. We were created to speak the word, and we were created to have dominion over our world like God. We are created in the image and likeness and out of God. And so to remember that is to set ourselves free. It is our God-given gifts and talents to leap into freedom through just showing up and being the change we wish to see, and thereby creating a world that works for all. Let us pray. So, Father, Mother, God, Infinite Spirit, how good it is to celebrate this day, this holy day of Palm Sunday, this time of Passover, this time of deep inner transformation and remembrance that God is one life, one power, one presence, one eternal beingness. God is omnipresent, meaning in every spot, in every moment. God is omniactive, always expressing forth in, through, and as all of creation. And so it's from this deep state of awareness, of this consciousness, that I now speak this word, simply knowing that for each and every one of us, for all of us together, for all world leaders, for all people on this beloved planet, for all beings, that we have been created with the capacity to live in peace and unity and harmony, with a reverence for all of life, all of creation, that even when times look dark, we can surrender our limited view and allow the divine light of truth to shine forth through us and illumine our paths moment to moment. I'm so grateful for these powerful teachings of science of mind. I'm so grateful for the love that is always inherent in our spiritual community. I am so grateful for new beginnings and new life that is even now revealing. I am grateful to leap into freedom. Free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, right? Thank you, God. Thank you, God. I release this word, and together we proclaim it by saying, and so it is. Amen. Namaste. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, Reverend Eunice, and thank you to all of you who tuned into our service today. I hope you enjoyed the new format. Please join Reverend Rebecca for private prayer for healing and revealing your highest good immediately after this service in the upper room on Zoom. If you would like to join Reverend Eunice for Walking the Labyrinth in Ruth Hardy Park this afternoon at 1, text her at 937-671-3078 and let her know you're coming. And don't forget to make your reservation for the 9 a.m. Easter Sunday service in the parking lot next Sunday. There will be no meditation service next week. We'd like to end the service today with our closing affirmation. I invite you to read along with me at home. I am at home in the heart of God. My life is anchored in truth. I live in the consciousness of peace. I can never be separate from my source. I am living love. Hallelujah. Amen. So we leave you today with Jeff Kingfisher singing a song of his own creation, The Truth of Love. From all of us here at the center to all of you at home, we see you, we honor you, and we look forward to being with you in person again in the very near future. Namaste.
Walking, voices talking in one big joyful song. I feel myself a blossom on a wild and glorious tree, blessed beyond believing to share this mystery. Always and forever we all rise together to simply be, thankfully, the wonders that we are. Soon we'll meet again, knowing until then we are one light shining in the truth of love. Makes you real. Love is everything, and love is what we feel. And if sometimes we're lonely, we never are alone. Let no mind put asunder this truth that's in our bones. Thankfully, the wonders that we are. Soon we'll meet again, knowing until then we are one light shining in the truth of love. We are one light shining in the truth of love. The morning streets are wet with evening rain. The blossoms tell of early spring, and questions of my heart rise to my head regarding just one thing. I offer to the stars my loneliness, and heaven smiled and I found you. And since we're given both to honesty, I know you'll tell me true. Do I love well? Am I kind? It seems I'm lost most of the time, with days and money always short with so much on my mind. Do I love well? Those calls we mean to make, but never do. The things we feel, but never say. The people that we love and count upon, they're simply gone one day. We fill our fleeting hours with busyness. We measure life in cash and fame. But when we meet at last, those final days, one thing always remains. Did I love well? Was I kind? Was I a friend when friends were hard to find? The longest time is far too short, and it's been on my mind. Do I love well?